Good afternoon, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss Unit 16, Animal Stories. What do you think we are going to talk about in this unit? Okay, first, do you like reading stories? If yes, which kind of stories do you prefer? There are different kinds of stories, for example, action, adventure, comic, and so on. What do you think, which of these stories we are going to study? Here in our unit, we are going to talk about moral stories. Okay, do you know what does the word moral mean? Moral means stories which contain message that give an advice. Moral means stories with moral which gives message that give an advice. Let's see here, we are going to talk about the first story, the ant and the grasshopper. Grasshopper, what does it mean? It's an insect with long back legs that can jump very high and that makes sound with its leg. Let's listen. It was summer and the ant was collecting food for the winter. Grasshopper looked very content as he sat in the sun. Grasshopper hadn't done any work all week. Don't be foolish, said Ant. You know that it's hard to find food in winter. What would you do if you didn't have any food? It's still summer, said the grasshopper. I refuse to think about winter yet. When the winter came, Ant had found enough food to eat until spring. Grasshopper remembered Ant's wise words, but he was very hungry. Okay, let's see the red words. Content, what does it mean? Content, what does it mean? When you feel satisfied or happy, this means content. When you feel happy or satisfied. Okay, enough. What does it mean? As much as is necessary. As much as is necessary. Okay, the word wise. To be able to give good advice. To be able to give good advice. Okay? We will see what are the morals of our story. You have two options. A, always prepare for the future. B, you must never relax. It's up to you. We will see the second moral stories, the goose and the golden eggs. Okay, do you like reading stories?
Stories with moral?
Yes, we are going to study moral stories. Okay, we have different kinds of stories. For example, action, adventure, comic, and so on. Today we are going to study moral stories. What do you think this word means, moral? Moral means stories that contain message that give advice. Stories that contain message that give an advice. Okay, let's see. We have two moral stories in our first lesson in this unit. The first story is the ant and the grasshopper. The grasshopper, what does it mean? It's an insect with long back legs that can jump very high and that makes sound with its leg. Okay? Let's read. It was summer and the ant was collecting food for the winter. Grasshopper looked very content as he sat in the sun. Grasshopper hadn't done any work all week. Don't be foolish, said Ant. You know that it's hard to find food in winter. What would you do if you didn't have any food? It's still summer, said Grasshopper. I refused to think about winter yet. When the winter came, Ant had found enough food to eat until spring. Grasshopper remembered Ant's wise words, but he was very hungry. Okay, let's see the new words in red. The word content, what does it mean? Content. When you feel satisfied or happy, this means content. Enough means as much as necessary, as much as necessary. The word wise, what does it mean? Wise. Able to give good advice, able to give good advice. Okay, in this moral story, what are the moral in this story? A, always prepare for the future. B, you must never relax. You have two options, it's up to you. You can choose one of them. Okay, let's turn to the second story, the goose and the golden eggs. Goose, what does it mean? It's a bird like a large duck with a long neck. Geese either live wild or kept on farms. Let's read. One day, a farmer found that his goose had laid a yellow egg. When he picked it up, it was as heavy as metal and he thought it was bad. He decided to take it home, and he soon found out that the egg was made of gold. Every morning, the same thing happened. The farmer soon became very rich. He sold all the golden eggs at the market. However, the farmer soon became greedy. He thought that there must be a lot of golden eggs inside the goose. So he killed it. When he had killed the goose, he found that there were no eggs inside it. What are the moral? What is the moral in this story? A. Don't kill animals. B. Don't want more than you need. Hania, what will you choose? Hania. Okay. Let's see in exercise 2. Which of the words in red in the text means the following? Number 1 is answered as much as necessary, enough. Number 2, able to give good advice. Able to give good advice. What does it mean? The answer is wise. Number 3, happy means content. Number 4, made of gold. Made of gold means golden. Number 5, wanting more money, food than you need means greedy. Greedy. Number 6, a common white water bird, it's goose. Okay? In exercise 3, choose the correct answer. Number 1 is answered Ant was planning for the future. Number 2, Ant knew it was hard to find food in the winter. Number 3, the farmer wasn't sure if he should keep the egg. Number 4, the farmer soon became very greedy or happy. The answer is greedy. Number 5, he killed the cows to get more eggs. Okay, well, we have the new words: grasshopper, content, enough, wise, goose, golden, greedy. Okay, we will see in your workbook, exercise 1, choose the correct answer. Number 1, a story with a moral has message, sad ending, happy ending, not ending. The answer is letter A, message. Number 2, if you feel content, you are sad, angry, scared, happy. Hania, can you answer? If you feel content, you are happy. Okay. Number 3, if you have enough water, if you have
Happy.
happy. Okay, Hania, very good, thank you. Number 3, if you have enough water, you are thirsty, not thirsty, hungry, not hungry. Hania, you can answer. Number 3, if you have enough water, you are okay. Letter B, not thirsty. Number 4, it's a good idea to ask a wise person for. Food, wonders, money, advice. The answer is advice. Okay, exercise 2. We will see after we have our grammar lesson about the past perfect tense. We use the past perfect when we are talking about 2 events in the past. We use the past perfect to talk about the earlier of the 2 events. We use the past simple to talk about the later time. For example, we have the positive form. She had finished the test. And the negative form, she hadn't finished the test. We have the interrogative form. Had she finished the test? Okay. We will see the usage of this tense. Number 1, to describe an action finished before another past action. For example, Richard had gone out when his wife arrived in the office. We have 2 actions. The first action, past perfect, had gone, had plus pp. The second action, the past simple, arrived. Number 2, we use this tense when we want to describe an action that happened before a specific time in the past. For example, Christine had never been to an opera before last night. Christine had never been to an opera before last night. We have a specific time in the past, last night. Number 3, when we want to describe cause and effect combined with past simple. For example, I got stuck in traffic because there had been an accident. I got stuck in traffic because there had been an accident. We have cause and an effect. Number 4, we use it to emphasize the result of an activity in the past. To emphasize the result of an activity in the past. For example, I had been to London twice by the time I got a job in New York. I had been to London twice by the time I got a job in New York. We will see another examples of the past perfect tense. Number 1, the baby had cried before her father came. Before her father came. We have 2 actions in this sentence. The first action is past perfect, had cried. And the second action came, past simple. The second action came, past simple. Then notice the interrogative form had the water boiled. Had subject will be be. Had the water boiled when you went to kitchen. When you went to kitchen. Number 3, by the time I returned home, he had already left. By the time I returned home, he had already left. We have 2 actions happened in the past in this sentence. Which one is the first? The first action is had left. Had left, past perfect. But the second, past simple, returned. By the time, as before. Number 4, when I came home, they had already eaten the meal. They had already eaten the meal. Came is the second action and had eaten the first action. He began to run after he had seen the cat. He began to run after he had seen the cat. We have 2 actions, the past simple, the second action, and the first action, past perfect. Another example, I had never seen such a nice beach before I went to Hawaii. Number 7, I had lived in London before I moved to Paris. I had lived in London before I moved to Paris. Example number 8, she had washed her hands before she cooked the dinner. She had washed her hands before she cooked the dinner. If I said she cooked the dinner after she had washed her hands. Number 9, did the student go home after they had visited the library? The first action is had visited, past perfect. Number 10, I returned home because I had forgotten my notebook at home. Okay, we will see. Exercise to practice the past perfect. For example, Number 4. The lesson had already started. The lesson had already started when he stayed the classroom. The lesson had already started when he. The answer is enter, past simple. The second action, past simple, enter, and the first action had started. Number 5, after we had visited the museum, we decided to have lunch. After we had visited the museum, we decided to have lunch. Okay. Let's say the most important function in this unit. Responding to news. Responding to news. Good news. If we have good news, we can say, well done, congratulations, that's brilliant news, that's excellent. I'm happy for you, I'm happy for you. If we have bad news, we can say, I'm sorry, oh no, you must be really upset. That's awful, I'm sure it will be fine. We use these expressions in our question. What would you say in each of the following situations? For example, number 1, you hear that scientists have found a new medicine which will help many people. What would you say? You hear that scientists have found a new medicine which will help many people. What would you say? Okay, we can say, how wonderful, how wonderful. Number 2, you see people leaving rubbish on a beach. You see people leaving rubbish on a beach. We can say, how terrible. Why don't they do this? Why do they do this? How terrible. Why do they do this? Number 3, a friend tells you that you have won a prize. A friend tells you that you have won a prize. It's a good news. What would you say? Really? I can't believe it. How wonderful. I can't believe it. How wonderful. Number 4, your friend Elsa tells you that her oldest cousin is going to have a baby. You can say, how amazing, that's great news. How amazing, that's great news. Okay, this is the last point in our session today. Thank you.